Hello, welcome back everyone to my channel and Simple Living Ideas. How are you all? I hope you've had a good week. What are we making today? I'm thinking of ways to use up vegetables. You know, at the end of the week you have them in your vegetable bin in the fridge. And I've made this before and I'll make it traditionally how I usually make it. But you can add other vegetables or combinations. It's a basic recipe to follow, but you can be creative with it. So what is it? No flour vegetable bag. So you don't use any flour, you don't get all that binding, you don't get all that gluten. It's just mostly the vegetables that you use, and then you bake it basically in the oven. So what are you going to need today? You're going to need a cup of pre-cooked broccoli and a cup of pre-cooked cauliflower. Now I've steamed mine and it's semi, so if you put a knife in it, it's still firm, you know, for a little bit more extra cooking when it's baking, but not completely soft. That's how you want it. So a cup of broccoli, a cup of cauliflower, 2 chopped tomatoes out of the garden, 2 cloves of fresh garlic chopped, and a very finely sliced onion. So it needs to be very finely sliced so it slightly goes translucent and caramelizes when it's cooking. You don't want it chunky in this bake. Now this bake can be used for lunches, events, light dinners. You could take it as a dish to a barbecue, or really good for picnics actually. I've done both, but I'm just going to have it on its own tonight. So let's get started. So what you've got to do first, with a tablespoon of olive oil, start cooking the onions off. So let's get started there. I'll get them going and I'll come back to you. Right, I've got a tablespoon of oil in the pan, and we will add the finely chopped onion and then get it started. I'll bring you down once that starts cooking, and then we go from there. Okay, we are now cooking with the onion and 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and they need to go transparent, a little bit caramelized. So we'll just let them cook for a little bit in this position, and then we'll go on to the next phase. In the meantime, you want to have your oven on preheating at 200. So get that ready, get that heated up, because this process is very quick. It's like a 30-minute meal. Right, as you can see, I've started to sweat them down a little bit more now. They're starting to go a bit more transparent. You're getting a bit of flavour on the bottom of the pan. You need to turn it down a little bit at this point, and just cooking it through for, it'll probably only take another, I don't know, another 5 minutes. This is all flavour. You don't want them cooked completely through, but you want it so that it is going to bake in the oven. So you're sort of pre-cooking everything first, and you just kind of get this a little bit caramelized, a little bit more transparent to add into the other ingredients. Okay, now at this point what you're doing is just finishing the colouring of the onion off. I've just had to add a little bit more oil in because it was sticking to the bottom of the pan. Now this recipe you can double and make a big bake. You can add things like pre-cooked potato, if you've got some leftover potato with leek, you can have a potato and leek bake, which is really nice. There's all sorts of things you can add to it, but the basic recipe is what I'm doing today, so that you get an idea of how to use it. Because we're all about simple living here, people. Right, this is almost ready, so let's get ready to put that in a bowl. So the onion then goes into a bowl. That's done, lovely. Just turn that element down a little bit. We put some more oil in, another 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And in this pan separately, we cook up the garlic. And we do the same with the garlic, the same as what we did with the onion. You need fresh garlic for this. I think that the jar garlic goes a little bit too soggy, so I'm using the fresh garlic. Oh, if you could be in here and have these beautiful fragrances of onion and the garlic cooking, oh my goodness, it's just divine, absolutely delicious. So we just brown the garlic up, you just cook it off, you don't want it to go too dark, because it will go bitter, and then it will ruin the rest of the ingredients that it's baking with. So we'll come back in a minute and see how that's going. Right, as you can see, the garlic's getting a nice golden tone to it, so that's really all you need. You don't want to overcook it, because then that's, like I said, it will go bitter. So that now what we do, just let it drain off a bit there, don't take too much of the oil, put it in with the onions. There's nothing worse than having that burnt taste of garlic in your food. It just makes it all bitter. Okay, in here now we're going to add the 2 chopped tomatoes. And we just lightly cook them, not too much, just enough to soften them a bit. So the great thing about this recipe is that everything is pre-cooked basically. You've got your onion, your garlic, your broccoli, your cauliflower, your tomato. It's basically it with a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, a pinch of paprika, 3 eggs, Greek yogurt, 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt, or 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk, depending on what you have on hand. This only takes about 20 minutes in the oven to bake, so you know, it's a very quick, easy midweek recipe. You've got to the end of the week before you go do your grocery shopping again, and you've got all sorts of leftover vegetables in your fridge. Right, we'll just give them a little bit more and we'll come back. Right, they have been cooking for probably I don't know, 2-3 minutes. You want them about the same consistency of the broccoli and cauliflower, so I think I'll take them off now and they can go in there with the onion and the garlic. And I'll bring you over to the counter and I'll show you the rest. Okay, we are at the stage where we have the onion, tomato and garlic in the bowl, as you can see. And at this point we're going to add the other ingredients. We just need it to cool down just a little bit. Right, at this stage we're going to do a bit of mixing. Now I like to keep the outside, the baby cabbage, cauliflower leaves, and I usually like them because they're sweet and they give a little bit of flavour. There's some goodness in them. You don't want the big white thick chunky bits. So we just take most of that out. We chop them up. They've been washed, but just the very fine little leaves around the cauliflower, not the big heavy ones. It just gives it a little bit more flavour. And it gives it a bit of green, because remember, we like colour here. So put that in with the cauliflower and the broccoli. Now the next step, and here we're putting 3 eggs. A bit of shell on there. Not the best. Is it shell? No, it's not shell. It just looks like shell. And with this, we mix it. It doesn't have to be completely mixed, just give it a whisk. Add some pepper. So they say a pinch of pepper for these kind of egg recipes. Pinch of salt. Pinch of paprika. You don't want too much in there. This comes out so fast. Probably about that much, because that's the smoked paprika. I mean, you can add other herbs, whatever you feel you would like in it. And now we add, I've only got buttermilk, I haven't got any yogurt, otherwise it can be 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt. So I'm doing the buttermilk left over from my bread. We have a little mix here somewhere. It's always quite a bit thicker. Just give it a little bit of a whisk. And that goes into the egg mix. Waste not. So you just want to mix all those ingredients in. Next step. So you've got your onion, potato, tomato and garlic in here. How gorgeous that is, and the colours. So you want to put your other cooled down pre-cooked ingredients in on top of that, because if you put the egg mixture straight in on it, it could curdle because it's still quite warm. And you just mix it all in. It just makes a lovely light vegetable bake. And you can have this with fish, if you eat meat, a steak or a chop. I don't encourage it. And some kind of fritter maybe. Some people like to have corn fritters. Okay, so that's pretty much blended up. Now comes the mixture. It's very easy. You're just going to make sure you do the order of the onions and the garlic and the tomatoes separate. That's basically your bake. Isn't it gorgeous? Right, next stage. Over we go. So you get yourself a bake pan, plain glass bake pan. You don't need to grease it. It's got enough oil in it to do its cooking in the juices of the tomatoes. Those tomatoes were actually quite juicy. Okay, as you can see, that's it there. Now that goes into the oven, 200, for about 20 minutes. So we'll see how that is when it comes out. All right. Okay, we're back. It's out of the oven, and in my little slow oven, it probably took about 45 minutes, and it shouldn't have taken that long, but it depends on your oven, I feel. So you're going to have to judge it between, say, a good 20-30 minutes to 40 minutes. All depends. You have to cook the egg. That's what it's about. Okay, it's out of the oven, so I'll show it to you. It's turned out beautifully. There it is there. How divine, how delicious does that look? Okay, so let's prepare it for serving. I'll bring you down and show you what I do with it next. Right, let's cut into it. And as I said, you don't need to grease the dish. It's got enough oil. in the actual bake. You can do all sorts of different types of vegetables. If you've got leftover pasta or a cold pasta lying around in the fridge, you can put that on. Now, how I like to serve it is with a little bit of Parmesan cheese grated on it, and I have it with a little bit of pear chutney, homemade pear chutney, something a little bit sweet. So I just Parmesan over the top. Some people might like to put cheese in the egg mixture. I'm not big on cheese. I'm trying to stay away from a lot of dairy. But you just need a little bit on there to give it a little bit of extra flavour. Like so. Right, we will try eggs. Okay, so here it is. So what I do is I just take a little bit off the edge. Got a bit of cauliflower in that mouthful. A little bit of the chutney. Still a bit hot actually. Delicious. Absolutely delicious, people. So enjoy the simple living, using up your vegetables and making a bake. I hope you've enjoyed this content. Do take care. Much love and many blessings to you all. Bye for now.